What it do, what it does, so you ain't never gotta guess what it was. I'm your host, Saintbeboomin. This my co-host right here.
Burntheweeb, what's good?
Hey, and we back at it again with another one, bringing you a special edition of the Straight Boomin podcast. And we're going to talk about Bleach, the final arc. And we're going to have a deep dive into that thing. You hear me?
Yep.
So, hey, Burntheweeb, I know you've been trying to talk about this for a minute. I just actually caught up on it because guess what? We always don't have a lot of time, but we got a lot of time to go ahead and watch animes when there's downtime. So, Burntheweeb, how this final arc started for Bleach, it was kind of crazy. Backstory was there.
Yep. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Quality was there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah.
They didn't slack on the quality. I forgot what studio did this, but
I forgot too.
it's okay. Shout out
Y'all
to whoever.
Y'all
you know
did
what I'm
it,
saying? Y'all did y'all thing. And I know how important Bleach is to the culture, to the fans that wanted it.
Oh, yeah.
And how, what's the creator's name?
Tide
Kubo didn't hesitate to give
At
the
all.
fans what they wanted.
At all.
Thoughts on how it all started?
Man. So, I'm a huge fan of Bleach. If
Let's
you didn't
talk
know,
about
now
it.
you know. If we talking going back to how it started, man, it was originally, they weren't even supposed to use swords. If we talking about how it started,
That's
they were
crazy.
supposed to use scythes. So, I don't know if you remember, in one of the Bleach movies, Rukia had a scythe. And that's how it was supposed to. Rukia was supposed to have a scythe. Rukia was supposed to be the main character. But they did a little flip switch.
As Reapers, literally.
Yeah, Reapers. Yep. And then Ichigo originally had black hair at the beginning and glasses.
Oh.
Who does that remind you of?
Black hair and glasses. Wow.
I'll give you a hint. With the bow.
Uryu.
Yep.
What?
Yep. So he's pretty much him. But I mean, if you think about it, honestly, they're pretty much they're almost the same person in a sense because spoiler alert for anyone who don't know.
No, this ain't even no spoiler because guess what?
If you ain't seen it yet,
That's on you. That's on you.
But Ichigo, Ichigo's dad and Ichigo's mom, we obviously know that's how Ichigo was born.
Quincy and
But
Soul Reaper.
at one point, Ichigo's mom and Uryu's dad, they were supposed to be a thing. They were supposed to be a thing.
Yo.
So they were
So you hold on. So you telling me Ichigo's dad pulled up with the Riz and got in that thing?
Hey, something like that.
What?
So I would look if it
Crazy.
If it was Riz, I don't know if it was more of Riz or it's more like I just bonded. I just made it happen. There's no choice in the matter type thing. So that's real unspoken Riz. I don't know how to say it. That's commitment Riz.
Commitment Riz.
But yeah, long story short, pretty much they were the last two. Pretty much the last two in there, and they were like, "Oh man, we got to keep the legacy going."
Right.
We got to keep the legacy going. So they brought Ichigo's mom into the household, and they were supposed to be
repopulated.
Repopulate the Quincy's.
The Quincy's.
Yeah, because right before, like a couple years before, probably maybe 50 years before that, 100 years, no, about 150 something years before that, they had just got rid of all the Quincy's. There was only a couple left.
Right.
So they're trying to repopulate right now. You know, they had that beef with the Soul Reapers.
Soul Reapers, yeah.
So they had that beef for a minute. They're trying to repopulate. Aizen, this is when Aizen first pops into the picture for real. He's working on trying to make his hollows, his special hollows, if you know what I'm talking about. She ends up getting helping Ichigo's dad in a fight because if you don't know, Ichigo's dad was a captain. That man was nice. That man was clean. he's fighting a hollow. She pops in to help. She ends up getting bit by the hollow.
Wow.
Because she got bit by the hollow, it kind of ejected into her body. She had pretty much we're gonna call that hollow venom. She had that hollow venom going through her, pretty much starting to kill her, turning her hollow. So then Kisuke is like, hey, the only way we can save her is if we stop this from happening. And they're like, okay, bet. Both Ichigo's dad and Uryu's dad are sitting right there. He's like, okay, what we got to do? And then he's like, well, she is human and Quincy. So in order to make this stop, we have to give the opposite, the complete opposite. And they're like, okay, what is that? It's like a Shinigami and human. It's like we have a human Quincy and we have a Shinigami. So what are we gonna do? And he's like, you got to get inside this Gigai. Wow. But when you get inside this Gigai, you can't come out of this Gigai because you're gonna be attached to her forever. You're attached to her forever, but it's gonna essentially make you half human, half Soul Reaper. And he's like, okay, just like that. Okay, does that, and he's connected with her till forever at that point. Wow. He said the only way you'll ever become Soul Reaper again is if the tie between you two break. But if you have any kids or anything like that, you're connected. You're connected.
Wow.
Yep.
So let's get off into it. So I know I kind of in previous podcasts said that Ichigo is like not a trifecta, but a quadfecta.
Ichigo is pretty much everything.
Human.
Yep.
Soul Reaper.
Yep.
Quincy.
Yep.
Shinigami.
Yep. So he's
he's a box.
He's a Fullbringer. He's a Quincy. He's a Hollow, and he's a Soul Reaper. So yeah, he's everything.
He's everything.
Literally everything.
So in this arc, they go and they make it seem like who I thought was actually the peacemakers, the bad guys. Because I always thought that Uryu and his people stood for, a higher good. Them boys was on demon time. So, with them being on demon time, it was said at the very beginning to the same two Shinigami that came over to the world of the living that, hey, Soul Reapers does this to souls so they can go back into the natural cycle of life.
Exactly.
Quincy's exterminates hollows and then erases them, forever bringing them back into the natural cycle.
Yeah.
So it just eradicates everything that I thought of Quincy's now to make me realize that, hey, they saying we don't want nothing to do with them, so we're going to get rid of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hollows are souls that were lost. You could say,
yeah.
That they were lost, and Soul Reapers fight them and purify them.
Yeah,
I get it. So, with that being said, before the invasion happens, Ichigo was in Hueco Mundo.
Yeah.
Did not know that was all a ploy just to go ahead and get him out the way as a trap. Because homeboy out there, he was really a piece of work. Whoever that dude was, he gave me Russian vibes for some reason.
Wait, which one?
The one with the glasses.
Aizen?
No.
Which one? With the glasses?
The one that was sent. We talking about this final arc.
Okay, yeah.
The one that was sent out there that had all of the run cars lined up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. He give me Russian vibes, bro. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to you. And it was all a ploy to get Ichigo out the way.
Yeah.
Ichigo goes out there to fight with him, and man, the technology that these Quincy's are using now.
Yeah.
It's not to seal a Shinigami's power. It's to steal Shinigami's powers. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of crazy, because if you can't, it's kind of weak to me in a sense, because you have to steal their powers in order to get one up on them. But who would introduce that type of technology to Quincy's, who I thought were only used to fight with relics like the hand chain with the bow and the arrow?
'Cause that's the old school way.
And that's the old school way. And they were actually dogging Uriel's dad, talking about, you're in the past, when he was just trying to keep it. He was trying to keep it pure.
Yeah.
They started using all of this unpure technology to get on the Soul Reapers levels. Because honestly, I used to think that Quincy's were weaker than Soul Reapers.
Yeah.
Not no more. Not no more. Because the disdain that came from them, when it came to the initial invasion, it got real crazy. And I mean, they didn't show any lack of remorse for any of the Shinigami's life whatsoever.
I mean, it makes sense, because I mean, you got to think about it from a Quincy's perspective. Like their family, their friends, everything they know has literally been attacked by the opposite side. I mean, it's kind of like when you are looking at stuff in like real life, when countries, stuff like that. When you're looking at one side, you see something, the other side sees something. You don't see it from the other side. So
that's a fact.
So it's back to the little playground brawls.
Man.
When something happened, you're like, oh, blah, 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 you did this. And they're like, nah, you did this. And y'all start fighting. And in the long run, it wasn't even done like that. It's because you looked at it the wrong way and you just felt some type of way, type thing. So, I mean, when you're looking at the whole Quincy story and everything like that, it's crazy. And I understand both sides of it. But at the same time, the Shinigami, the Soul Society, and this whole, when they get tired of something, they get rid of it. Yes. And the thing is, a lot of times they bring it up. Like, for instance, when it comes to the bounce, they brought the bounce in. They created the bounce. Then they're like, okay, we're done with it. Get rid of it. The mod souls, they made the mod souls. We're done with it. Get rid of it. The Quincy's, they didn't make the Quincy's, but they're like, okay, the Quincy's don't listen to us. Get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Like, anytime they don't like something, get rid of it. Mm-hmm. So that's what they do. They literally find it, throw it away. The Wizards. They saw them, get rid of it. And if it don't work for them,
they don't fit their program.
They just throw it away. They don't try to make it work. They just get rid of it. But going back to what you said earlier about that cycle thing, because what happens is the Quincy's were continuing to kill the Hollows off. So when they killed the Hollows off, that they weren't doing that cycle, and if that cycle didn't come, then pretty much what happened is Soul Society and the Living Realm would mesh together as one, and they both would cease to exist. So that's why they did. I mean, exactly. I understand why they did it, because if they kept doing that, then both of them would cease to exist. Mm-hmm. And the Living Road was pretty much life, and then Soul Society is like that death and reborn. Mm-hmm. So they pretty much, you getting reborn from pretty much Soul Society to the Living Road, and then when you die, you go back. And it's a cycle. But they were taking them out before they could go back, so then they were only coming one way. If they kept coming one way, then they're fused and become one. And that's what they're trying to avoid. But yeah, it's a lot going on, and it's a lot to like unpack. But like once you get it all and it all comes together, you're like, okay, that makes sense.
Man, I'm talking to every fan, every man. And where I sit is kind of heavy, man. Woo! It's getting hot like Serengeti, man. You know me, sit back and listen to Straight Boomin'. Yeah, man, what can I say? From anime to the different games we play. Gosh, I just want you guys to really check out Straight Boomin'. Gosh, if you really want your latest coverage of DBZ, right? Yeah, man. You know, or if you're gonna talk about what happened in the news with rap music, yeah, man. It's different. Gosh, I love it. About to go listen.
The narrative,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
I want to get off into the Grandmaster and the story between how he didn't finish what he should have with the Majesty.
Okay.
2,000 years ago.
Okay. Man, it's so crazy just thinking about how everything played out. So you had head captain.
Yeah.
And then you had the pretty much the king of the Quincy, the father of the Quincy. So pretty much, long story short, this has been going on for a minute. Them two been beefing for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
And the head captain, this is when he first decided to create the Gote 13. And he had the original Kenpachi, him, and a couple other bodies in there that were about it. When I say they was about it, they got to be about it, because they went and they pretty much terminated the Quincy's, like brought them down to select fews. And
let's get into it.
So pretty much they thought they did. They thought they got rid of the main problem. They thought they got rid of it, but it's just like when you have an infestation. You can get rid of a lot of them, but if you don't get rid of all of them, they're gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. And he came back with the vengeance. But
now, what is his name?
Man, I jack up this man's name every time I try it. I gave up on saying this man's name. Man, every time I can see it and I'm looking at it and I try to read it and I'm like, got it. And I hear it, I'm like, got it. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, what's his name? I was calling the father to Quincy.
All right, okay, we're going to leave it at that. All right, so back to Ichigo fighting this dude in Waco Mundo. He fights this guy at Waco Mundo. This guy is insanely strong. Mm. But I understand why he's insanely strong.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's next to the Majesty.
Yeah.
He's next to this, well, he's a higher up that's next to him. Mm-hmm. And someone that we used to look at, or a species that we used to look at, is most feared. Man, can't even lay a hand on these Quincy's. And the way that they're fighting made Ichigo keep asking, am I fighting an Arankar or am I fighting a Quincy?
Yep.
And the guy said, look, I'm going to go ahead and answer the question for you. Yes, I am a Quincy. Mm-hmm. And he pulled out this circle thing.
Yep.
This contraption that steals the Bankais of the Shinigamis.
Yep.
And hey, he's getting frustrated. He's getting frustrated just like the first one that popped outside of his bedroom and got hands and feet put on him. Mm-hmm. You know? Once he realized that, man, they sent the boy to do a man's job, and it didn't work then, and it didn't work yet again now. Yep. And Waco Mundo. What's dude's name with the bucket hat?
Kisuke.
Kisuke is getting called from the Soul Society saying, hey, it's an emergency. Yep. It's an invasion. Come and see us. Come. Where's Ichigo? Put him on. You can't put him on. He's in the middle of a fight. And the dude he's fighting is getting irritated because he can't steal his Bankai. Yep. And what ends up happening is He gets slashed down by Ichigo. Ichigo get on the phone. Ichigo's gone through a portal now.
Yep.
He's gone through a portal. Kisuke is still on the phone. Y'all shouldn't have never took y'all eyes off this dude, even though he have a hole in him. Yep. Now he put a hole through Kisuke.
Yep.
Put a hole through Kisuke and put Ichigo in the barrier.
Yep.
Ichigo's in the barrier. He's getting a butt down, you could say, from the Soul Society. And all he hears is massacre and melee and screaming voices.
Yep.
He's getting frustrated. But what ends up happening is Ichigo ends up using a reawakening Quincy power.
Yep.
So the gate that the dude put him in, the lieutenant, or whatever you will call it, of the Quincy's, put him in to cage him into a pocket between dimensions of Wako Mundo and Soul Society. It's meant to hold Shinigami.
Yep.
It's not meant to hold Quincy's.
Exactly.
Ichigo reawakened his Quincy powers that we didn't even know that he had, and broke through the barrier and gets there in time to see the aftermath and see your majesty. I want to say he called Don Vitch or something like that. I don't know. You call him Gullah. So we're going to call him that too. So, yeah. And he tries his best, hot-headed and all. Burst out of rage, tries to lay a sword on him. Can't lay a sword on him. Also, your majesty's brother is there.
Yep.
So, at first, he said, I wanted to take him with me to teach him about the history. But now that I know that he's one of them as well, I'll be back for you, homie. And Ichigo said, you're not going nowhere. And he gave the final charge as every anime would. And the brother intervened, broke his Bankai. That part. And wow. They said we'd be back.
Yep.
And they devastated the Soul Society. It was very much 2,000 years warranted of revenge.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. Ichigo's Bankai now. We're gonna segue into that.
Okay.
The boy was left with a broken Bankai.
Can we call it that though?
You tell me.
So this whole time Ichigo's been fighting with a false Bankai. With a false Zanpakuto.
Really good one if you ask me.
Which, I mean...
Really good one if you ask me.
It's like at every turn, we look at this man because, okay, if you take it back, all the way back to the Rukia retrieval arc, right?
Yeah.
Ichigo fights Kenny. Our Kenpachi. Zaraki. Fights Kenpachi Zaraki.
Shout out to Rusty Sword.
And in that fight, even before we even realize it, Kenpachi is probably at that point I would say second strongest in Soul Society. At that point, second strongest in Soul Society. I would say the only two people that could probably take him would be Aizen if Aizen fought him right then, only because he saw his Shikai release. That's the only reason why Aizen would beat Kenpachi. The only other person is the head captain. Only other person that could beat him at that point was head captain.
You know what? We ain't even about to sit up there and do the head captain like that. Because we didn't even get off into him going out the way he did. Hold on. Before we segue into Ichigo's Bankai, false Bankai, whatever. Yo, lay some respect on my man's name.
Man, I don't look.
What happened?
He got played, man.
He got done the wrong way.
He got played, and here's the thing, and I feel like because He already knew what was going down. He's like, bro, I got this guy at my disposal. I'm gonna use him. He played the part perfectly. He was all in. He got him all in his head. He's like, crazy. And then he's like, yeah. He's like, I understand now. You can't take no one's Bankai that you don't understand. And he's like, well, now I'm gonna end this. And then he gets ready to end it and finds out he wasn't even fighting old boy. He was fighting the dude that can make himself look like people and mimic people. So then old boy actually comes out and he's like, yeah, you're about tired now. There's nothing you can do. And he's like, man, I still got fight in me. Bankai. And he sucks that bitch up right there.
Wow.
Sucks it up. And it's like gone. I'm like, man, that's it. And he's like, how's it feel now knowing that I can use your power against you? And he's like, I don't even need it though. I'm stronger than you at this point. Like, you can't even take me. And then that's it. And then he just disrespects my man. Like,
he sliced him.
And then stepped on his head. That's the part that got me.
Yo.
And then even as this dude was dying, he reached out and grabbed that man's ankle and said, you ain't going nowhere. He's like, even in death, you try to stop me, bro.
What?
Like, no.
Why he get disrespected so?
Disrespected.
What?
I'm like, why they disrespect my boy like that?
Yo.
Strongest man in Soul Society, and they did him like that.
And it's funny because it was that, man, hey, your mans knew what he was doing because everybody felt that man's death.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody felt that man's death.
That was one of the cleanest things ever is because when they were talking, they were like, it was the other people, not them two fighting. They're like, look, I get it. You think that because your captain is out here, blah, 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 you guys are strengthened. And then you see his power show up and everyone gets hyped. All the
get a morale boost.
And he's like, but you're forgetting one thing. So is ours. And then he shows his power, and they're like, oh. And it's like, yeah, so we're hyped too. So it's both of them going back. And then at the end, like, this man is, like, we've seen glimpses. Like I said, I got my roommates to start watching it, and then we're rewatching everything. And I was like, you've seen glimpses with the movies and stuff like that of what this man's power is, but you never really get to see it. And this man never uses his full power. And then the fact of the matter is that this man, when he activated his Bankai, it just got dry. Like, it sucked the moisture out of everything, out of your skin, everything. Like, and he's like, oh, I just gotta avoid the tip. Man, come on. Anybody else, like, just that right there, like, he hit the ground with that thing one time. Like,
yeah.
Everyone, look, just this man's when he just lets out that energy, bro. It's just man. That just shows how strong both of them are, and they were still going toe to toe like that. Because when I was watching it I was literally watching this with my roommate, and then she's like, "Oh man, Ichigo, when Ichigo was trapped, she's like, Ichigo can come out there and he's gonna fight him." And I was like, man, if Ichigo fought this man right now,
he'd die.
He wouldn't even last a second.
He would die.
He wouldn't last a second. And then he finally gets out, and it's already too late at this point. And then this part, I get completely pissed off. And then I got up and I walked out of the room because I was so mad about it. Because I'm still mad about it to this day. Because this man is getting ready to die. He's getting ready to kill Ichigo. And he activates his Quincy powers.
I seen that. And he thought it was a glimpse. He thought that it was a flicker. And then he said, no, I wasn't tripping. I just saw what I saw. I know what that is.
Yep.
And he tried again, and it activated again.
Yep. But here's the part that killed me the most. He'll never do it again. Never use his Quincy powers again. Never use his Quincy powers again.
Wow.
Like, he gave us so much potential. Like, and then here's the part that got me, like, talking about his Zanpakuto. His Zanpakuto is split into two pieces. If you look at the Zanpakuto, it looks like the perfect thing. That, remember when Uryu had his thing and he put it together and made the bow?
Yeah.
You could literally turn that into a bow. It looks like you can make that thing a bow. No. I saw that and I was like, it's two pieces?
Put it together, man.
Bro, that's a bow. And no.
You think they dropped the ball when it came to it?
I think they dropped the ball so much. This man has so many things. Like, the The Quincy, like, they hit everything. They hit everything. They hit the Hollow. Hollow had its own part. Fullbringer had its whole part. Shinigami had its whole part. You think it's time for the Quincy to shine? And
I mean,
all it did was save his life. Every single part of him has saved his life.
If this wasn't a better enough opportunity for the Quincy part of him to shine,
exactly,
this should have been it.
It really should have. And then it's the fact that even the father of the Quincy's, like, he's like, my son. And then
he was son in a lot of them.
My roommate was like, why is he called? Is that his dad? And I was like, no. You watching this? You know, it's like, why you say son? It's like, that's because he's a Quincy. And she's like, oh, he's a Quincy? He's like, yeah, he's a Quincy. And then he said the same thing to Urdu. He's like, you're my son, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, damn.
Every new year, I show up with new gear. And I say what I say and I keep moving. Why would you be shocked when he's hot? It's your boy Straight Boomin. Your latest things from him. You know, it's your boy. He's talking about anime, hip-hop. Got them type of subjects that collide together. We ride together, we rise together. Now all of us use our eyes together. You know, watch Straight Boomin go live, whatever.
And that was another thing, man. Uryu's father is disrespectful. You had that man down there looking in the library and then gonna tell him what the answer that you're looking for is not here. Don't tell him nothing else and just walk out. Then he gets the light bulb to go into your office and start looking and snooping around. Then you go in there. Who gave you permission to go into my office? You literally just told him that the answers he was looking for wasn't there. And then he confronts you and say, you knew all of this? It doesn't concern you. Glass. the glasses.
Where do you think he got it from?
That's true too. But I'm just saying, bro.
He's his daddy's son.
Yeah, you your daddy's son, man.
Your daddy's son.
That's a fact. I'm sitting up there, bro. And just to come off of that in the wreckage of the Soul Society, back to Ichigo's Bankai in the healing process.
Yeah.
The scientist, I forgot his name, but the weird face scientist.
I know you're talking about.
He says that the only one that...
Orochimaru of Bleach.
Yes, the Orochimaru of Bleach says that the only way one could fix his Bankai is by taking his own spiritual pressure and healing and fixing it.
Yep.
Let's get off into his sword and his false Bankai.
Okay. Yeah, so if that was his real Bankai, he would have to use the spiritual pressure to put it back together, which usually they can heal it over time and stuff like that. Being that it's not his actual Bankai, I mean, he couldn't actually really do anything about it. So that's when they're like, hey, we healed all this, but you're still not where you need to be. And that's when the good ones come. The ones I've been waiting for a minute. Zero Squad.
Yeah.
Zero Squad.
Yeah.
And Zero Squad, they ain't no joke. They
they are problems.
Man, if Zero, like, and then that's one thing. There's like a couple people, like a couple of captains that don't know, like the newer captains, not the older captains, because all the older captains know Zero Squad, because Zero Squad used to be captains at one point, and then they got promoted to Zero Squad, and they came down. They're like, oh yeah, these are the real ones right here. You don't want to mess with these ones. And a couple of them, they were like, where were you at when we were doing this? The whole Soul Society is destroyed, and you were, and it's like, hold on, wait a minute. And this is the part that got me the most. Dude's like, hold on, wait a minute. What's your job? And they're like, isn't your job to protect the Soul Society? And our job is to protect up here? So why you getting mad at us? Because you couldn't protect what you were supposed to protect. And I was like,
oh, don't do it to him.
He pretty much said, this is your playground. And you couldn't keep the sand in it. Don't get mad at us.
Yikes!
Look, like, Like we were out here at our 9 to 5. You were in the
That's a
sandbox
fact.
playing.
That's a fact.
And then they got mad, and he's like, you know what? Cool. That's taken care of. Y'all go fix what y'all need to fix. We gonna go up here and we gonna get done what we need to get done.
Come on.
And they take the people up that they gonna take, and they're like, Ichigo, come with us. He's like, why you taking me? I'm fine. It's like, yeah, physically you're fine,
But you're not.
but your spiritual,
Your
it's not where it need to be. And so they take them up, man. And that's when everything starts to get in line, get into order, and you start to see that, okay, like they even did this man. They put this man through mental thing. They told him, was like, hey, yeah, you can't be a Soul Reaper. You never were a Soul Reaper. Go back to where you came from, pretty much. This man goes back to where he comes from. And then he's sitting there like, bro, what is this? His dad pops up and he's like, yeah. And he's like, his dad shows up in Shinigami form.
Yeah.
And then he's like, because you're showing up, Ichigo's like, you showed it to me looking like this was the reason why you did that. You would just show it to me regular human form. And he's like, yeah, they get a little talk, blah, blah, blah. He comes back, redoes the test to get a Bankai. And then this is one of the cleanest parts right here. He's, so beforehand, him and Renji go into this like a little closed moat type thing. And they close it, so you gotta survive 24 hours in this fight for me to build your Bankai, build your new Zanpakuto. And then they open it back up after the hour. Ichigo's laid out on the floor. Renji's still up there fighting. He's like, Renji, you've passed. Come on up.
That is crazy.
And then Ichigo's like, no, give me another chance. I got this. He's like, he's been fighting for 24 hours. You barely lasted an hour or whatever he said. And then Ichigo's like, nah, give me another chance. And he's like, nah, you go. So that's when he sends him back. He comes back again. He drops him back into the room. He's like, all right, you ready? And he's like, yeah. They all pop up. Soon as Ichigo looks at him, they all bow down. They just bow down and get on their knees. Every single one. All the ones that they were fighting before, they just bow down. And then he starts to walk through them. They spread themselves out. And then he puts his hand out. There's one sitting there. He's like, you're the one. And he grabs him. And that's his Zanpakuto right there.
That is crazy.
But,
oh, okay. So now, let's get off into the rebranding, the rebuilding. Because now, we know that they're going to come back.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The way that the season ended, let's talk about that.
Pretty much the way the season ended, got to take a quick step back. It's the fact that Aizen played a part in this as well. Aizen always has his fingers in there. I don't know how he does it. Him and Kisuke, they got their hands in everything.
They move different. They playing 4-dimensional chess.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because Kisuke's Bankai, so yeah, 4-dimensional.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Speaking of that, and we still have yet to see, unless he decides to do this in the anime, we've never seen Aizen's Bankai. We still have yet to see Aizen's Bankai. So unless he just does something in the anime, we've never seen Aizen's Bankai, still to this day. But with that being said, taking a step back, because they had a lot of time to do everything they wanted to do while they were there. Aizen messed with the dude, so he stayed in there talking to Aizen longer than he anticipated staying. And then when he left, he came out, and that's when he was fighting Ichigo, and he was like, we're out of time already. What happened? And then he's like, wait a minute. And he's like, Aizen. And he's like, yeah. And he looks back at old boy, and he's like, you knew this happened. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, why didn't you say anything? He's like, would it change anything if I did? And he's like, fair enough. So pretty much Aizen saved Ichigo's life again.
That's crazy.
So it's literally everything. It's an anime, but everything lines up perfectly for Ichigo to keep getting saved. Like,
boy, that plot armor is amazing.
Plot armor is amazing. Plot armor is
plot armor is amazing.
This man got trapped in a ball that unlocked his Quincy powers, that saved his life, and because Aizen kept him there long enough, saved his life. Like, so many different things happened.
So many variables.
Yeah, that's perfect lined up. Like, the whole story. Like, don't get me wrong, the story is written great. I would honestly love to see an anime where we think who the main character is, dies. Like, I would love to see that because you're not going to expect that.
You know what? The way that they animate things in Bleach, it does have a dark-esque kind of feel to it. And it does give a bleak sense. Like when Rukia's brother was fighting that one dude that had those beady eyes. But he came to play. He was playing with fear.
Yeah.
That dude wasn't no joke.
Oh,
and it hurt me to see, the blossoms actually turn on man. But it was what needed to happen to show the severity of the situation. I ain't never seen him get out of pocket, but he took an L that day for sure. And the plot armor is always convenient with Ichigo, and it's going to continue to be. That's the game they play, and that's the game we're just going to have to go and play.
That's anime.
That's anime. So as the plot armor thickens around Ichigo, let's get off into, just a few things for the second season, and then we can go on and wrap it up. Because this is the Straight Booming Podcast special. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the special arc, the final arc of Bleach. What's some things that you are looking forward to in July of 2023 to come back with the second season?
Oh, man. I've already saw a couple fights that I was anticipating watching. There's one more that I'm ready for, and it's when Kenpachi unlocks it.
I'm ready.
It's a sad moment. Like, okay, so I would say for me, one of my favorite characters, like a lot of my characters that I enjoy and I like watching are going to die. I hate to say it. Some of my favorite characters are going to die. I'm not going to say who they are. If you heard some of my stuff, if you've watched me on TikTok, if you heard me, I mentioned a couple of my favorite characters from this series.
Come on.
So if you listen, you probably already guessed who it is.
Come on.
But the number one captain, head captain, he's one of my favorites. That's probably my third. That's second saddest death of it. My first one is coming up, and I don't even, man. But it's all in good because that's when, oh man, that fight, I cannot wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it.
Oh, we gonna be here talking about it. I ain't gonna even, man. Yeah, we gonna be here talking about
There's
it.
A couple
right
more.
Here.
There's a couple more fights that I want to see too. But that's the main one I want to see. I just, man. Ooh. It's just, ooh.
Okay, I see. That's, you know what I'm saying. I see it. I see you.
It's for good. It's for the good. But one of my favorite characters got to go.
Hey, and that is it. Didn't have enough plot armor, but it's all.
No. But here's the thing. Like, I just want to. We're gonna talk about Kenpachi for a second because we're gonna talk about Kenpachi and Kenpachi's growth.
Yeah.
Like, it's the fact that this man, without a Bankai.
Yeah.
Without a Bankai.
Boy, he laid a few of them Quincy's flat right there. Here your homies back. How strong is this dude? How strong are you, Kenpachi?
All right, you know who the original Kenpachi is, right?
So you telling me he little Kenpachi?
Yeah, he's the second coming.
Yeah, you right. I do know.
So the original Kenpachi was so the original Kenpachi, you know the one with the braids and the connected to the friend? She's the original Kenpachi.
Yeah. Homegirl that you told me to go ahead and watch for. Yeah.
She's the original Kenpachi. So,
and I still ain't seen her get out her body yet.
So when she was younger, this is like right after pretty much I would say maybe like 100 years or so after No, I'll say probably 50 years. 50 years after they thought that they got rid of old boy. She's rolling around. She's still doing her thing. You know, just I'm out here to
willy nilly. Yeah,
I'm out here to slay people. Let's go. So they walk up on her and be like, What happened to all those bodies? Why'd you put all those bodies back there? For what? She turns around and looks. She's like, where did all these bodies come from? She looks all the way up to the top. Kid Kenpachi's sitting there. Zaraki's sitting up there with his sword looking down at her. She's like, who is this, right?
Hey.
So he jumps down. They start fighting. And remember, she's out here ruthless. She's out here putting bodies on the ground just like he was, right? They're fighting. He's never felt this before because everyone he fights, they can't handle it because he's too strong. So they start fighting. And because he gets so happy, he's loving it. He's like, bro, this is what's up. I've never felt this before. He weakens himself to her level. He weakens himself to her level so the fun can continue. And she's like, this is my fault. And ever since then, anytime he fights, he goes to that person's level. So it's not the fact that these people are strong. It's the fact that he drops his own ability down to their level.
That is insane.
And yeah, so when he fought Ichigo, he was fighting at Ichigo's level. That's why he lost to Ichigo. If he was fighting at his full strength, Ichigo would have been done. Over.
He ain't had that plot arm.
So then the thing is, when she gave him the title, she's like, I have to be here until I can get him to stop doing this to himself. And she knew, she's like, the day that he becomes the full Kenpachi, one of us has to die. And she's like, I already know he's stronger than me. So I know I'm going to die. So pretty much long story short, she's like, she pretty much brings him into the room, locks him in the room, right? Starts whooping this man.
I've seen that in comic form.
And the crazy part about all of it, so she learned to heal people. She learned to heal so she can continue to fight and enjoy good fights. And he powered himself down so he could enjoy good fights.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty much what she did, when I tell you, she was killing this man over and over and over again and healing the man and bringing him back. And he didn't even realize it. And she kept doing it until because every time he gets a near-death experience is when he unlocks a little bit more, unlocks a little bit more, unlocks a little bit more. She kept killing this man, bringing him back. And then he didn't even know he was gone. He was like, I just blacked out. And I'm right back in the fight. Because she would literally kill this man and then bring him back. And he would come back right where the fight was, thinking he blacked out. He's like, why do I keep blacking out? What's happening? Every time. He's like, I blacked out maybe like 10, 11 times. This man, she killed this man. 11 and kept unlocking this man. And then she's like, okay, he's getting stronger. He's like, all right, now I'm going to use my Bankai. Because the whole time she was doing this, she wasn't using her Bankai.
She was a Shikai.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then because he doesn't have a Bankai, so then she brings out her Bankai. This man is still toe to toe. Yeah. Gets him one more time, brings him back, and he's like, I get it now. I understand what's happening. So that's when it unlocks. And then after that, he pretty much beats her, has a killer, and then he's no, don't die, you can't die, because he's like, you're my only real fight. I'll leave you. And then a lot of people put them as like a couple type thing because of that.
You're right.
But he's just like, man, that's because in a sense, I think of it as like probably like a mother-son type thing.
Exactly.
It's like a teacher. Yeah, because he's like, you're the one who found me. You're the one who got me to this point.
She groomed him.
Yeah, pretty much. And man, but that fight right there was one of the fights. I was like, oh, this fight sucks because that's my girl. That's my girl. And then
we never really seen her do nothing though.
I mean, here's the thing that if you go back and you watch the series and you don't notice it until I rewatched it because I was rewatching it with my roommates and stuff. But the people that have been there with her, like for the whole time since she was captain, when her eyes are always closed. Her eyes are always
closed.
Closed.
You can't trust nobody with their eyes always
when she
closed.
opens up her eyes and they say something, like she'll say it in the nicest possible way, but she'll open up her eyes, puts a fire on them, they get up, they do whatever, they're like crap because they know what she's about. And then you're like, why are they so scared of her? Like, why? Because you know how anime is. But then if you know, then you're like, oh, they know.
Yeah,
they know because you have people. You have a group. you'll have like like 4 here and 2 here, and then she'll open up her eyes and they'll dart off and go do whatever.
That's a fact.
And then the other 2 are like, why are they getting scared? Why they run off like that? Because they don't know. Mm-hmm. They don't know what she's about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so because like when I said she used to just walk around, she used to like you look at her funny. She's like,
that's it.
That's it. It's over. It. You don't get another chance. She's not gonna talk to you.
Nope.
But now she's like, oh yeah, I've calmed myself down now. You know.
All right.
Beast.
So look, any final words, man?
Y'all think Bleach is good now? It's about to get so much crazier.
Hey, we gonna be here to bring it to you every time.
Oh yeah.
Every time. This has definitely been a special edition of the Straight Boomin podcast. I'm your host, Saintbeboomin. This is my co-host.
It's your boy Burntheweeb.
Let's go.
Let's
hey.
do it.
And we be getting at y'all sooner than later. Peace.